Comical by Chasing Albert.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Comical. I am very excited to have a wonderful guest today, someone who has been a colleague of mine for a short period of time before she went on to have an incredible career in sports journalism and recently made history becoming the first ever play-by-play female caller in Rugby League history, Emma Lawrence.
Hello, thank you for having me on. It's very good to chat again.
It's been a very long time.
Hasn't it? I still remember my days working with you at Public City.
Do you reflect on them fondly?
I hope I was a good intern.
You were the best intern ever and became a lifelong mate.
Yes, I know. It's been too long. Just even chatting about our kids and how far, time just goes too quickly. It really
does. It really does. And then you left the little Public City family and went on to have this incredible career as a journalist.
Yeah, so I remember I think I liked too many things. Even before I picked my subjects for uni, I think I changed my mind 8 times the night before it was due. Oh, maybe I should be a physio. Maybe I should be a lawyer. Maybe I should be a journalist.
I remember your law. I remember having a coffee with you and you're saying to me, I think I want to be a lawyer.
Yeah, so even once I was in something, even if I liked it, I still thought, but I could have done this maybe. So anyway, I did the communications and my major was PR, which is why then I started to do some internships in PR and met you. And I did some journalism electives as well because I always loved public speaking. I loved doing the speeches at school, which no one liked. So I was definitely the odd one out there. I loved writing. But then, I also sort of liked that maths side of the brain. So once I finished the communications degree, I actually went back and started commerce and finance. So I only did that for a year. I did that at nighttime at Sydney Uni while I was working at a law firm. I was working at Minter Ellison for 18 months. I was working in the business development team there, doing the commerce at night. And then, I don't know, I think I just, maybe I realized, it's not, I think maybe in my head I thought it was like Law and Order and like all of the shows, you think it's really sexy thing. But, I liked the people but I kind of thought, I don't know if this is for me. I probably am more suited to the writing and the speaking. And then funnily enough, I know a lot of industries, it's all about who you know, but I met at one of the West Tigers games when my brother was playing. I met one of the presenters at Fox Sports just at a function, just had no idea who he was, met him. Oh, what do you do? I'm Chris's sister, blah, blah, blah. I did journalism. I think I want to get back into it. And he said, I work at Fox Sports. I can help connect you with the bosses there. So I kind of all went from there. And then eventually I thought, okay, I'm just going to stop the commerce. I was a year in, but I don't see it as a waste. Maybe wasted a bit of money, but it was still great experience. And working at the law firm was a great experience as well. I got to, sit in with, partners and senior associates in meetings, and I was exposed to great things working in different teams, mergers and acquisitions team, private equity, and stuff I found interesting, but it just wasn't probably, my passion was more with sport and I think with writing. So I think I've eventually, in a roundabout way, got to where I'm most suited.
You were always super smart and I could see that you wanted to do and try everything when you were younger. You know what I mean? Like you just wanted, you had a thirst.
I'm indecisive
as well. A thirst for learning.
I loved learning. It's a bit of a nerd at school. So I loved school. I loved studying. I loved learning. I liked the social side as well and the sports side. It was funny. I actually last week went back to my high school doing the New South Wales government have launched a new hub for teenage girls to try and get more girls into careers in sport in all different forms. So whether that's, sports psychologists, sports physio, or they're just trying to provide them with different pathways.
That's awesome.
I kind of helped them a bit with that, went back to my high school for the official launch. And just funny speaking to, one of my old teachers emailed me actually and said, because she wasn't there at the time, and I was telling the story, she wouldn't let me go to one of the sports days in year 12 because we had double English. And she said, no, your study should take priority. I said, but I want to go to this sports carnival. And I was really determined. I said, wanted to get sports person of the year. So I liked both. So we made a compromise. So I made a deal with her. So every morning for a week, for an hour before school, I had to come into the library and do English study for 1 hour if she was to sign my form to go to this sports day. So yes, I was very determined, but I love sport, I love study, so it's hard, but
It's interesting that the government's trying to get more women into sport. My eldest has just discovered volleyball. I've always had them in sport, right? They played a bit of soccer or whatever, but they didn't really find their thing, their sport, my eldest especially. And then she discovered volleyball, and every time she asked to do some kind of extra training or whatever, I'm like, nah, you're never going to be an athlete. You're just doing it for exercise. Nah, it's not important. And she got really upset. She said, hang on, it is important to me. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, even the girls were asking me questions about, the value of sport. And even if you're not going to be an elite athlete, I feel like sport does teach you so many great life lessons. I mean, if you're in a team sport, definitely about working together, but even individual sports about how to handle losing and how to grow from losing, those types of things.
I agree.
So I think it's important. And then, it might spark your passion if you then want to do something else in sport. Maybe if you're not at the elite level, but you want to be involved, you could keep your passion going and work in the marketing team. Or now with social media, there's so many different roles in social media and sport and all the content online.
True that.
So,
and I actually hate any kind of physical movement. And so, however, I love sports marketing and sports PR. And I've done a lot of work. Like I worked on the Paris 2012 Olympic game bid. I led that. I've worked with sports teams, etc., on comms training. I love it, but just don't ask me to move. That I'm not interested in.
But I think lots of people that work in sport, I think, have a passion for sport, but you don't necessarily have to be need to have been good at sport in any way or continue to even work out. I mean, there are people who don't have an athletic bone in their body that I work with, but they like watching it.
I got to be honest with you, Em, I don't really enjoy watching sport either. No, I'm there for the chips and the vibe. I'm there for the atmosphere. But my kids playing is a different story, and I love watching them watch the Bulldogs play.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so you haven't even been converted to a
I
Bulldogs
used to be
fan?
a Bulldogs fan, like growing up, and then I was like, what's this? I'd rather read, or I don't know. I just wasn't that into sport. But I come from a family of mad Bulldog supporters. And so watching my kids get involved and get excited or get angry is just such a joy.
They are the most passionate supporters.
You'd have to be the way they're going now. I actually said to my husband, like, are we ready to call it a day? Is it time to move on?
Hey, I support the West Tigers, and we haven't made the finals I think since 2011. So that's the longest drought in the competition. But I think this year
I love the optimism. So. To help people get to know you, I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions, okay? First thing that pops into your head. And some of them are a bit silly. Humor me. Dogs or cats?
What? Is it one word?
It's up to you.
Okay, dogs or cats? Dogs.
Dogs. Do you have one?
I don't know. I've only ever had dogs. We don't have one, but Harper loves dogs. My daughter's 18 months old. Every time we go to the cafe, dog. And she'll have a massive tantrum if she can't go over and pat it. But then she doesn't understand that you can't pat some because some owners say, no. They'll probably growl at her or something. But yes, she loves dogs, and I had 2 growing up. So, yeah, I've just never had cats.
Okay.
So definitely dogs.
What are you currently watching on TV?
I'm watching the sequel to A Handmaid's Tale, which is called The Testaments.
God, that is some heavy watching.
Yeah, I know. Did you watch Handmaid's Tale?
I started watching it during COVID, and I couldn't. I had to turn it off. It was too much for me. And then did a hard pivot into Korean dramas.
I watched it, I think, after I had Harper because, I was sitting in the lounge a lot, breastfeeding, and I think being a new mum as well, just, seeing, women not have rights and the children being taken away, and I don't know, it's very heavy. But there's a sequel now, which was only just made and it's come out. So I think today the last episode of the season comes out. So maybe I don't think I'll fit it in before I go to State of Origin, but anyway, I'll watch it tomorrow.
Watch it on the breaks. Would you prefer to cook or clean?
Yes. Look, I'd prefer, what I'm better at is cleaning. I'm not the best cook. Tom cooks and I do most of the cleaning. So I'll do all the washing, soaking Harper's clothes. I don't love doing the dishes. If I had a choice in the kitchen, I'd probably rather do the cooking, but it's something I'm trying to upskill myself, and I have a few recipe books, try to pick a few new things each week. But when we're in a rush, it's just kind of easier. And because a lot of the time Harper's clinging to me, I'll be the one to feed her, give her the bath. So Tom just cooks. So it sounds like I'm making excuses that I can't cook, but maybe I'm just not that talented in the kitchen.
I suck in the kitchen. I'm totally team cleaning. What's a word or phrase you overuse?
I think I use like too much, just to feel. I've probably been doing it just to feel, I don't know, between sentences when I don't have anything to say. I don't know if I have been doing it now.
I haven't noticed. I haven't noticed it.
Maybe it's just in general conversation, not when I'm trying to sound intelligent.
Not when you're on the screen.
Sure.
You've never had feedback from a boss going, dude, in that report there were too many likes?
No, I haven't. No, I think it's just when I'm just chit-chatting. Maybe I say like, I don't know, what else would I probably swear too much. That's not great. I've had to be careful now around Harper now that she repeats everything. So I'm getting better at the swearing.
Have you ever lost it in a meeting?
No, I don't think so. No, to be honest, I don't know. In our industry, I don't have that many meetings about anything. I mean, just kind of go to I don't know, it's a strange industry where there are not a lot of formalities. Even someone asked me recently about, check-ins and catch-ups. We don't really have a lot of like a goal setting. I think actually they're trying to bring that in, what are your goals, check in with your supervisor. But, other friends in corporate roles who have that, we don't really have that. So I don't think I've ever, lost it in a meeting. The only time I probably maybe lost it was, is the nature of this work is you always do contract work. So you do it like, 2-3 year deal, and then you do the next one. And there was one time for various reasons this contract was taking so long and it was coming up on 10 months and thinking, I just need to get this sorted. Like, it's stressing me out. And I was trying to buy a house, all these things. So didn't get angry, but I could just feel myself getting upset. And so that's probably the only, not crying, but almost crying inside. So that's probably the only time, but never angry. I've never gotten angry in a meeting. So I'd certainly get angry at home when I come home and blow up to Tom about things. F this, F that, but no, not in a meeting. I don't know if I'm an angry type.
You hold it together well in public. And then finally, were you offended that time we put up a poster of your brother modelling underwear in your office on top of your desk?
No, is it weird that that's up in my house now? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Absolutely joking. No, not at all. It was funny.
It was so funny.
Because he had done some, I know, it was a shoot. It was a charity shoot, like Men of League. Yeah. I can still remember what it looks like. No, not at all. It was funny. That colleagues that can do that means they're the good ones. They're the ones that you want to keep in touch with.
We had the best laugh, hey, in those days in that little office in Piedmont.
It was so funny. So definitely not offended. Enjoyed it. And not enjoyed looking at my brother though, not in that way, but enjoyed your humour about it. Let's move on before I say anything that people think I'm weird.
Okay, let's go. You You are in a super high pressure environment. As I mentioned recently in April, you took on this play by play calling gig with Triple M, and you did your first in April, right? So that must take the level of pressure to, well, it must take it up to like 1,000. It would be different to say just reporting or pre-recording news, for instance. What did the pressure feel like before you went live?
I felt like there was an enormous amount of pressure. I mean, a lot of things I do are live. So working on the footy, if you're on the sideline or you're hosting, you're live and there's lots of eyeballs. For example, State of Origin, there'll be 4 million people watching that. But I don't think I necessarily feel the pressure of those things. Maybe because I've been doing it for so long, but because this was new and I feel like everyone made a big deal of it, which was nice, but at the same time, I felt the pressure because I said to Tom, maybe it was easier if I just flew under the radar and did it. And then everyone said, oh, look, by the way, on the weekend, Emma was the first female. But because Triple M had announced it and put out a press release, then it sort of got picked up and everyone knew I was doing it. So I then had a lot of people even afterwards say, they specifically tuned in because radio is the type of thing where so it's on radio with Triple M. I mean, usually unless you're driving in the car at that time and hear it, they're the people who will listen at that time. But there were people who said they watched, they had it on the TV, but just turned on the Triple M app just to listen because they were curious to see how I would go. So yeah, I felt an enormous amount of pressure, and because being the first female, I knew there would be a lot more criticism. For a few reasons. I mean, I think even still there's criticism on we're a lot better, but females in general working on footy, like a lot of time, and it's just people commenting on social media. They'll say, oh, I'd rather have a bloke telling me about the footy, things like that. But also I felt pressure just to be, like, in terms of my voice, because the thing that had always held me back, or was my biggest challenge in my career in journalism, was my voice. So I always backed my work ethic and my knowledge. But when I was young at Fox, I had to have a lot of voice training. So I think for 2 years I paid for my own voice coach. And then Fox got one in at the time as well. So that was always the thing. I mean, but the thing is, people either like your commentary and your voice or they don't. So, so I just had to accept that there will be criticism, and that's fine. But yeah, I felt like there was a lot of pressure. So it was almost like once I did the first one, there was a bit of a weight lifted off my shoulders. And then from the second, I think I've done about 7 now, maybe. I think that it was a lot easier from there, just having got the first one.
How did pressure turn up in your body? Like, what were you physically feeling, if anything?
I think when I feel that pressure while I'm getting close to on air, because I can get out of breath when you're a bit nervous. I guess that even happens before you do a live cross. If, things have been playing up when you're a bit stressed, I think something that happens is you get out of breath. So one thing I always try and do, like even before Origin crosses, when I know there's 4 million people watching, if they say a minute to you, I just do a few deep breaths just to bring my heart rate back down, because I think you're more likely to stumble if you're out of breath. You can speak a bit quicker and it can be high pitched. So yeah, I think before that first one, I was sitting there and I just did a few deep breaths as well. So that would be the thing I most notice, would be like my heart rate increase and get a little bit out of breath, which I'll tell you, as you get further along pregnancy, it becomes even worse. So even now, as I walk 10 meters and I'm out of breath, so trying to do the calling and remain calm and have deep breaths while this baby's growing inside me, it's becoming increasingly harder. But yeah, that would be probably the main thing, be the heart rate and breath.
What were you, with your voice coaching, why did you need it? And what did the coaching involve?
Well, they had basically said I sounded too young and high-pitched, which I did. I actually have clips still randomly saved on my Dropbox, which I came across recently, and I did sound very young. I guess you just don't have that sense of authority if it sounds like an 11-year-old girl is reading you the news, you know. Just so I had to work a lot on trying to make my voice sound deeper, basically. But it's really hard to then not put it on and force it, because also I sometimes hear reporters and I think, oh, you're trying so hard and forcing that, and it's so, you just still have to speak naturally, like you're just like we're just talking now. Even when you're reading the news, you just have to, it's like you're having a conversation with someone, not like you're actually reading a script. So that's the art of it. But yeah, so a lot of it involved, like I do my voice warm-ups every time before I go on air. Even still, we're 12 years on from having all of that
Go
training.
on, give us a warm-up.
Yeah, every time. So I do my diaphragm breathing. So which is I go like you go like out, hold, and then to try and open up your diaphragm and just help it expand. And then some vibration exercises that go but and like all the different sounds of the alphabet, or all those sorts of things to get the vibrations. And I mean, I remember the coaches had told me all the technical reasons behind it, but it does. Like I did something recently. I think I breezed through them. I still did some, but I noticed, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but I'll notice something even small when I think, oh, that sounds a bit high pitched there. If I get excited, it can get a little bit high pitched. So so much that goes into voicing things. But some reporters just naturally have a beautiful, deep, sexy broadcast voice, and they just have that, and they don't need to, I don't know, it's kind of like, I guess, with sport, some people just have something naturally, others have to work at it, or some are prone to injury, so have to do special warm-ups and exercises before they go out and play to avoid injury, but others have never had an injury in their life. Similar thing. I just have had to work at my voice and continually want to just be consistent with. Doesn't even feel like a chore now doing my exercises. It just feels like it's something you do every day, like you brush your teeth or something. So,
what does it take to prepare for mistakes? Like you're live on air, you're focused on every single move that's happening on that field. Surely one day you're going to stuff up, or you're going to do, I don't know, you miss a call, or you make the wrong call, or you swear on air, I don't know. Do you learn to prepare for those moments, or no, we'll just figure it out if it happens?
I think it's all individual. So I have made a mistake. I don't know if it was in my fourth or fifth game. Because one of the biggest challenges of calling is knowing it's not even 17 now, there's a couple extra. So all 19 players on that list for the team, because you know all of the big stars. And I would say I know the majority of players in the competition, but there's always a few fringe players, few players that have only played 2 or 3 first grade games, and instantly when they pop up on your screen, you think, oh, is it that person? And you just second guess yourself. But you have a team sheet, so you can look down. And the beauty of radio, I guess, is that, not that you ever want to make mistakes, but in TV, if you say the wrong name, everyone can see it there and they know that you've stuffed up. So I said the wrong name in a game, and one of the nicer colleagues sitting next to me just sort of pointed at the other side, because I'd called number 14 for the wrong team, right? And it was someone who'd only played a handful of games. So I did and it's only once, but I called the wrong name. And one of my biggest, I don't know, issues or downfalls is that I'm a perfectionist. I mean, it's my greatest strength, but can be my greatest downfall. And I've had to really, really work at just, okay, if something's not perfect, you make a mistake, just get over it. So I've had to really I've had to work so hard at that over the last, I don't know, well, forever in my whole life, but particularly over the last sort of 5 years with work. So I think with that, for the next 5 minutes, I was a little bit rattled. But I just had to think, okay, you just need to put it behind you and move on. Like you just have to, and I tried to, again, just take some deep breaths. I could even feel myself getting a bit flustered. Like I could feel like I was getting hot. My cheeks were getting red because I was so mad at myself. And I called it the name once. And no one would have noticed because they can't see, it's radio. But I couldn't believe it. I just felt like almost for a minute the world was like caving in on me that I made a mistake. But I just had to like just calm myself down. When the boys took over and spoke, then I just took a few deep breaths. And so I think I actually in that moment did a pretty good job of just moving on and putting it behind me. It's like, it is what it is. So what? You make mistakes. And I've done sideline for so many years, and I hear the commentators make mistakes about players and stuff. Like, it happens. You might call the wrong name accidentally. So yeah, in that moment, I think I was actually okay at it. But there's other times that things can eat away at me if I feel like I asked a dumb question but I think a lot of it comes down to two, for me, preparation. So if I didn't get a good sleep, or I haven't eaten well, had a lot of water, and I'm not physically and mentally in a good state, that's when I find I can spiral and I just sit there. I think about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was hosting the footy show and asked what I thought was a dumb question. It didn't come out the way I wanted it to. So for the whole next segment or two, for 20 minutes, I feel like I'm not even listening to what the boys are saying. I'm just in my head going, oh, I can't believe you asked the question like that. Can't believe, and I just spiraled a bit. And hadn't had a great sleep because Harper was up all night. Like, I think all of that, it's a whole preparation thing. Like, it's like, I don't know, similar to athletes where they have to make sure anyone, even CEOs, anything, if you do all that, sleep well, eat well, all of those sort of things, and you're mentally in a good state, when I feel good, if I make a mistake, I think, oh, it's okay. But it's when I don't feel good, I kind of let it get to me. That makes sense. That was a very
No, it makes perfect sense.
But...
And you know what's funny? When I do public speaking or presentation training, I talk a lot about preparation. And when I talk about, you've got to clear your diary. If you've got something big on and you're presenting at 6, I don't want you taking meetings. Any big meeting, don't do it. Wake up on time, exercise, etc. And it feels so rudimentary. Sometimes I feel people look at me like, really? Is that it? And I'm like, yeah. It's a very, very big deal.
The preparation is huge. It's huge for your performance in any industry, really. But yeah, if I have slept well, even if I have gone to the gym that day and I feel good, I might not have time to go to the gym. I might just do a bit of mobility or stretching. You can't be stressed. Even just packing things, like if I try to, it's not always possible. I'm busy, but I'll feel good at the footy if I've eaten something healthy rather than having a pie and chips, just because you feel bloated.
Gluggy.
And then when you're trying to voice something and have like a performance, really that's what it is, being on air as a performance, and then your guts are churning because you had a meat pie. Like, I mean, that's not ideal. So there's all those things that come into it. Even sometimes if I'm tired and I have too many coffees, then I feel like I'm a bit jittery, or again, I kind of feel like, oh, I've got pains in my tummy because I overdosed on caffeine, and then that's in the back of your mind. You just need to, control everything that you can control for your preparation. You need to do. And there's always things that are out of your control. But if you've done everything that you can to perform the best, then like you're in a pretty good spot. So yeah, that makes all the difference for me. And I do like, I don't know if you call it meditation or mindfulness, but I always try and, I'd like to do it every single day, but I definitely do it before I go on air. I would just do some, like affirmations, I guess. I have my sort of sayings. I would say like, I'm strong, I'm intelligent, I'm capable. And I would think of, it might be before I go to work. Or sometimes even if I haven't done, I feel like I just need to just get in that sort of flow state a bit. I might just literally go to the bathroom, just sit in the bathroom for a few minutes and do it, and just give myself that evidence, like I'm strong. You remember a few weeks ago when I did everything and had no sleep and Harper was up and I went and killed it in that performance? Like, I'm strong. I got through all of that. Or I'm capable. remember when we had a lightning delay and I had to fill for half an hour. Like I did that. I filled for, and just giving yourself that evidence and, which is not something specific just to this industry. I think that's something anyone can use really. One of my old neighbors who's she's a friend and she's a career coach, I guess. She works for the Australian Graduate School of Management and does a lot of mindfulness and stuff in that. So she had given me some of those techniques, which I still use all the time. So yeah, that's my routine. I do like try and sleep well. I do my mindfulness. I do my voice warm-ups. So I have to do all of that before I go and perform, whether it's calling a game, hosting a game, sideline. Even if it's the sideline now, I've done that for 12 years. That's the sort of easy job for me where it's not as challenging as calling a game, but even for the basic stuff, you still have to prepare.
So it doesn't matter how important or how high the stakes are for you. Preparation is always important.
Yeah, it's so much of the performance comes down to the preparation. And even, but I guess complacency can come into it because sometimes there are days for sideline, because that's my least challenging role, because sideline is where, for those that I guess don't watch footy, is where you're not the host. There's a main host. It's like, hello and welcome. They introduce all of the players. You're the person who sits on the sideline. When there's an injury, you tell people what happened. When they walk off the field at the end, you're there to ask them how the game was. So you're contributing less. So it's usually like the first role people get in broadcast would be a sideline. Then you progress to a host. And if you want to call, then you can call. So because for me, that's the easier role. Sometimes I go thinking, like I'll prepare, but you just, maybe you're not in the mood. I'm like, oh, Harper's been sick from daycare or whatever. And then, I don't know, it might be fine. It's never bad. Like I don't ever think I do a bad job. It might not be great. I might have asked a question I thought wasn't great, but I probably went in a bit complacent because I thought, oh, I'm tired. Harper's sick. It's freezing cold. Got to go out and sit on the sideline in Cronulla or something. And so if you're not mentally there, even if it's a job that you can do with your eyes closed, you still won't be at your best if you haven't done the preparation.
It's on the complacency side, I reckon the time I've stuffed up or not done as well as I could have was on something really simple that I do all the time, but I walked in having had a chock-a-block day thinking, this is a walk in the park. I don't need to prepare. I've done it a million times. And I can't remember, something caught me off guard and I didn't like the way I reacted or responded to it at this presentation I was doing. And then when I reflected on it, it was 100% because I walked in there without any of the mental or any of the preparation work. Even just revisiting what I was going to talk about. No, I just walked in like, I do this all the time.
It's true. And I think it's natural. It's human nature to, when you're doing things that are more complicated, when it is the simple things. And when there's a lot going on in life as well, when we're trying to juggle,
100%.
Being parents and everything as well, like things get in the way. But I agree. Any time, all of the difficult tasks, like I feel like I've done a solid job of my calling and my hosting, but anytime maybe I walk away from something and think, oh, that wasn't the best, it's often the easiest task because I went in thinking,
so true.
I haven't even looked at the rundown. I get there, I'm like, who am I interviewing? Oh yeah, that person. Oh, have they been injured? Like, I'm like, come on, you should have done this at home, but because I could think of questions off the top of my head, right? But because you're only doing an interview, it's pre-recorded, that type of thing. But it's the same thing with anything, whether you're a former player, you're a host, whatever it is. Honestly, I find whenever there's pre-records, people stuff up more because they know they can. Like, oh, I can do this again. And the amount of times people stumble and all of this. But when it's live, they don't. Or if they do, they just get on with it and don't care because you have to keep rolling because it's live. But when you know you can do it again, it's not the end of the world if I stuff up. There's like 8 takes, sometimes for people.
And did play-by-play calling teach you anything about quick thinking and thinking on your feet?
Yeah, I think that was one thing that I think was probably a strength of mine. Even though I hadn't called, I felt like with hosting I was quick on my feet, bouncing off someone, or if something cuts out and you all of a sudden have to fill. So, I feel like that was one of my strengths. I was great at when things didn't go to plan. Like if the broadcast went to shit or there was chaos, or like, I feel like that's when I did my best work. So I feel like it was always a strength of mine. But yeah, you just have to be, you always have to have something. You can never be lost for words, particularly on radio, because on TV, you could not talk for 5 seconds, maybe even longer, because a player's taking a run, because we can all see, we can just watch the TV. You just sort of come in and out, float in and out. Whereas if you're driving in the car, there can't be dead air. So the caller is talking nonstop. So if a player puts up a kick, you can't just say, Nathan Cleary's put it up. And then wait, you can't, like, everyone's like, you just have to, you have to keep talking. So you always have something to say. So in my practices, I did my demos over the off season. That was one of the things I had to work on. I felt like I was reasonably good, but even just that, you can't have 3 seconds of, you have to even just anything. If you can describe how high it is, it goes long and it goes deep. Oh, gee, this is going to be a tough one for the fullback to take. Even if you have nothing to say, there's always sprinklings of just say the score again. He puts it up, Nathan Cleary puts it up high as they're looking to extend their lead. They're up 18-0. Say what stadium they're at, the weather. You just always have to say something. So, I feel like I was reasonably good at that anyway, but absolutely you have to think on your feet. And there's always times, I might call a try and then I get home and think, oh, I could have called it this way. I should have said this, but it doesn't matter now. It's too late. You only have that moment to think of what to say. So, yeah.
Did anyone give you any tips, or was there something you learned at the School of Sports Broadcasting that made you good at that?
At thinking on your feet. I don't know if they're, like, commentators had given me tips before I came in to do the play-by-play, but I don't know if there was anything in terms of thinking on your feet. I think it's maybe, I don't know whether it's harsh to say people either have it or they don't. You can obviously work on it, but no one had ever really, there was never any advice or about working on that or how you can do that. But I think that's what separates not just the callers, the best hosts from the not so strong ones, is that when everything goes to the rundown and it's hello and welcome, I'm going to say, here's Nathan Cleary. Okay, now let's go to the coach. If everything's perfect to the rundown, they're fine. But it's as soon as, oh, okay, the coach is not there, just talk for 1 minute, that's when they struggle. So thinking on your feet, it's a huge skill. But I also think it comes with practice. I think actually what helped me a lot in TV was doing radio, not just calling, but hosting, because you host a 2-hour show, you just got to talk. It's a vague rundown. It's like, okay, let's just talk about how good the Bulldogs are going. And they'll finish talking. I've just got to come up with something. So then when I come to TV, I feel like that's a breeze because I've talked underwater for 2 hours. So I feel like practice, it's getting the miles in the legs helps. But yeah, I don't know if there was ever any set advice from anyone on that.
Is there any listening involved in what you do? Not just listening as in through your ears, but is there anything outside of exactly what's happening play by play that you have to be watching that impacts the way that you call?
As in, well, I listen to...
In the moment.
I listen to...
Yeah.
Or in the moment. Anything else? Well, I mean, I listen to the boys. Like, I listen to what they're saying. I mean, I have a producer in my ear. So
you're being spoken to while you're speaking sometimes?
They don't often do it while you're speaking. It's more when maybe one of the boys at the end of a set, I might say, oh, they kicked to the corners. Great first set from the Panthers. Wade Graham next to me might jump in, and then the producer might come in and say, oh, our sideline reporter has an injury update. Can you go down to him? They try not to talk while you are talking. That's a general rule for TV as well. But sometimes the producers on TV have to speak to you while you're talking, which is very distracting, because if there's been a late change for example, or that interview's not there, you can't, because the next thing on the list might be, throw to James Tedesco, but he's not ready yet, so I can't throw. So I'm trying to talk, and if they talk in my ear, you can sometimes stumble because I'm trying to talk and someone's in my ear, and like I've got enough noise in my ear, and there's someone else in my ear, but so that can be hard. Or producers also, they should generally talk while you're not talking, but occasionally, even if you're listening, someone's describing, oh, this is what this team needs to do in the second half. But if the producer's talking to you, it is difficult to actually properly listen to what your colleague is saying. And so then that, the expert next to you might have stopped talking and the person's still going in your ear. You're like, oh, okay, no, I need to talk. But like you were just distracting me in my ear. And they could have said, he should be dropped. He's the worst player ever. And then I didn't actually listen to that. I say, anyway, and I don't react. So you have to try and listen to two things at once. Listen to the person talking to you on air and the person talking in your ear, which is not something that is all the time, but it does happen.
And that's something that you only can get better at through experience, I suppose.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny. I usually don't like too many things on at once. Even if we have music on at home and Tom's trying to talk to me and, Harper's in the background, I was like, I can't, don't turn the music off. I can't listen to you in the music. He said, how do you actually host broadcasts? I don't understand how you, and I said, I don't know. It's like I'm different when I'm on air. I can, like it's hard, but I have to listen to, you've got the crowd, the expert next to you, a producer, but the minute there's too much going on at home, like, no, I can't, or in the car, you have to turn the radio off. If you want to talk to me, you can't talk to me while the radio's on. I can't listen to both at once. So
I wonder if that's because you're always so hyper-focused at work and you've got, a job you have to do and you do it. And then when you get home, you're relaxed and you want to, you don't want to work when you're at home.
Maybe because, it is a challenge for me anyway. Maybe for others it's not, but to have to then tune in and tune out to different things. So, which you have to do on air.
You know what? I'm at that age now. I'm that person that in, DJs walks up to the ladies and says, excuse me, I can't hear myself think. Can you put the music down? And my kids are like, Mum, you're being a Karen. Please shut up.
Yeah,
I know. Sorry, but I am at that. I am at that age.
I'll be that soon. Even like when I take Harper now, if I take her out to lunch or something with a friend, she's 18 months. I feel like I can't. She's talking to me. I'm trying to feed her, but I'm not properly, because I like to be really present in something. So I feel like then I'm talking to someone and she's there too. I'm not really properly catching up with you. I can't. Maybe some people can absorb both at once, but I just like to be dialed in, really present. So it's actually hard to be like really present then and dialed into two or three different things.
Now that my kids are older, if I go out and my cousin or a friend brings their little kid and they dare to tend to their child and turn their attention away from me, I'm like, you know what? Call me when they're 7. Bye-bye.
Yeah. I know. It's the age where I think now it's like, okay, you leave them at home if you're catching up with friends, or if you want to go to the park or something, they have to be able to run around, because I can't just, no,
it's impossible. It's so hard. You're at such a beautiful but difficult stage with your daughter.
Yeah, I know. You can't really take them anywhere unless they can run around.
And you know what? That's life, and people just have to deal with that. We've all gone. I think anyone with kids has gone through that or will go through that. When you did your first call, you did it with Josh Reynolds. Is that right?
Yeah.
And actually, even in your job in general, you're often reporting or commentating or whatever with ex-players. What does that feel like? Is that intimidating, or was it intimidating at first?
No, not on the whole, no, but only because I think because my brother played for the West Tigers for 15 years and we always grew up around footy. I just kind of, it seemed natural, like a lot of his mates then went on to play first grade, and I'd see them on weekends, and it was around those environments we'd go to games. we'd go in the sheds afterwards with the family. So I was always around that. So it's not like then when I started working in footy on TV, I all of a sudden saw a footy player next to me and got really starstruck because I was always around that. So no, there's probably only been a few instances where, I mean, someone like Phil Gould, Gus he's done everything in the game. I think he has this aura about him where I was nervous to do my first thing with Gus for sure. I feel like most former players know, but someone like Gus, because, I mean, I didn't grow up in an era watching him. I grew up when he was coaching, coaching Origin sides for New South Wales and that type of thing. And then he's been on Channel 9 for years and years. So he was probably the one I was nervous to work with. I never really feel like, oh, wow, it's pretty cool. I'm working next to all of these legends, which maybe I take it for granted. But the only other time I probably felt, wow, this is insane, I'm standing next to these legends, was the very first grand final I worked on for Nine. So I'd worked on a few as a reporter where you go in the sheds afterwards. I'd worked on a few for radio, but I was on the host broadcast at Channel 9 where you're hosting on the field. You're on the field the whole time. Like, you cannot get closer to the action than working for Channel 9. So the first year I did that, I remember standing alongside Cameron Smith, who is arguably the greatest player ever, and then Fatty, so Paul Vaughton, who, again, I didn't grow up watching play, but I grew up watching him on the footy show, which I loved. So I remember thinking, wow, this is crazy. Like, I'm sitting next to Fatty and Cam Smith. This is pretty cool. And I almost got a little bit starstruck in that moment. So there are moments here and there, but on the whole, I don't find it daunting because I think I've just always been around that environment.
What about in terms of just knowledge? That's kind of where I was coming from. Like, did you ever feel like, oh, they're ex-players, they know more than me, or did that affect the way that you reported?
I think, well, ex-players, they will always know more than you, right? Because they played the game, right? So you always have different roles. They're there to analyze, and you're there, whether you're as a reporter working for the newsroom, you're there to ask questions, or if you're hosting. So yeah, there's different roles for former players as there are to hosts and reporters. So I wouldn't say I felt it daunting around the former players, but what I sometimes felt when I was younger, not so much now, but because there weren't a lot of female reporters back then. So I felt there was almost a bit of the females maybe weren't taken as seriously, and you had to work harder to prove yourself and prove that you knew the game, right? But it's wild in the sense that, well, okay, so just say I'm a female reporter and there's a male reporter, just a reporter, not a former player, just asking questions. Just because he's male, why does he know the game any better? Like, he didn't play NRL. Yeah. For sure Cameron Smith knows more than me because he played over 400 games, but we're both reporters working for Nine News. Like, who says you know more about the game than me? Yeah. That type of thing. But all of the reporters, when I was young coming through, so going back to say 2013, there weren't many female reporters. There are a handful. There are a lot more now, sort of 12, 13 years on. So I never felt it daunting or there was judgment from the ex-players, but it's more just like sort of the reporting world, and it was almost harder to prove yourself against male reporters who were just mere mortals like us. We didn't play the game, but just because you're a bloke, that doesn't mean you know that game better than I do. Yeah. That type of thing. Yeah. If that makes sense.
When I've watched you, which is one of the only times I'll ever watch anything on sport, because I stop and I go, guys, and everyone's like, we know, you used to work with them. But you look really natural, and I find that the energy and the chemistry is really natural, and there's a lot of mutual respect there. As a viewer, that's what I see and feel. Is that what you see and feel too in the moment?
Yeah, I think that's really important because I feel like not performance, but when I feel like it's a good segment, a good show, it's when you have great rapport with the fellow hosts or whether you're doing a sit-down interview with someone, it's all about the chemistry. It's more about that than about the question you ask. Like, you could ask the dumbest question, but if they like you, they respect you, you get along well, like, you'll still get a good answer.
Yeah.
So it's all about building that trust, but it takes time to build that. So yeah, if people are watching me host something now or call a game, like, I've had years. So going back to, say, when would I have started? Oh, I did the little stint of commerce, but started working at Fox, say, when I was 23. So I've had 13 years, but like a few years before that doing stuff at the Eels unpaid. So say 15 years in the industry, being around, not to mention then years being surrounded by these people through my brother, where I've been around them. So the amount of times I've interviewed these people, gone out to press conferences, it might be like the hard-hitting stuff where coaches get sacked. It might be more the heartfelt sit down, someone's opening up about, a family member that might have passed away. All of these interviews you do over years and years and years, sideline interviews to build trust, so people know you, trust you, respect what you do and how you know the game. So I feel like it's taken years to get to that point. Don't just all of a sudden now it's like, oh, let's put you hosting the Sunday footy show. Like, I've done 15 years of trying to build trust and build a reputation. But if you have that chemistry, makes all the difference. Even before you do a sit-down interview, I remember one of the old presenters, I'm not saying he's old, but when we were, no, he's older than me, Matt Russell, but he was one of my mentors. He said the most important part of the interview is 5 minutes before you actually start it, because that time you have to relax them and build a bit of rapport with them is crucial. So I find that, because if they're uptight, they're not going to give you good answers. Even if whether you know them or not, you just need to relax them, make them feel calm. Even down to little things like, I mean, maybe the camos get annoyed with me, the cameraman, but I'll be very particular about the way that they are sitting, the players and talent are sitting, because if they're like on a stool where they're upright and they feel awkward, I'm like, they don't feel comfortable. They're not going to give me a good answer and open up. Like, let's relax them. Like, let's have them leaning against something. Let's, you need to feel comfortable with the person, but in your body as well. You need to feel relaxed to open up. So there's all those little things that come down to it. And just chatting with someone, if their kids are there, about their family, I don't know, anything. It's just, if you're sitting there and being awkward and, if the lights are getting set up and the cameras and you're like, won't be a sec, 2 minutes here, and you're just looking around like you've got nothing to say. Like, you're not going to get a good interview because you're making them feel awkward. So it's all about, the chemistry is everything. It's more about the chemistry than about how good you are as a reporter and at asking the questions. I think.
What about do you do much emceeing?
I do some. Yeah, I do some. Yeah.
How do you build rapport with a big audience?
That's harder. You know what? I get more nervous, weirdly, for something in front of, so say there might be 600 people at a venue, but there's 4 million people watching Origin at home, but I can only see 2 people in front of me, like a cameraman and a lighting guy. Whereas, because you can see everyone looking at you, that's why I think I get more nervous, because you can actually see them and almost feel that pressure. So I think it's harder, but I just try to be, everyone has their style. I don't try to be funny, as some people will go down that way, but I feel like I'm more, just be a bit more warm and heartfelt, that type of thing. And I always try to then like make eye contact and look and make it, I don't like, often you have to get certain sponsors away or certain names, so you do need a script as such, but I hate just reading off, just standing up there and hello and welcome everyone. Like, you're not talking to them, you're just reading a piece of paper.
You can't connect with anyone like that.
Connect with people, like put it into my words, make it conversational, look at them. So I think that's important. I try to do that. And then even going to functions, I noticed that I hate going to functions where the MC just reads off the sheet.
That bothers me too. Like, look at me. I can, try to connect with everybody. Even if what you're
Yeah.
saying isn't profound, it doesn't really matter. But as long as you
No.
show that you're connected, happy to be there and make that
Yeah.
effort to bring warmth to the
Yeah.
room, I think it makes all the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, you got to bring warmth. Even when you try to, it's not always possible for time or you might not know them. I always try to, when you mention the dignitaries, if I know what table they're at and, thanks for being here, so-and-so, I try to look
Yep.
at them to acknowledge them as well rather than just read.
Yep.
Like they could be right in front of you, but it's usually not that hard to ask where's the board
Yep.
sitting, just so you can make eye
Yep.
contact and it just, I don't know, makes it feel a bit more important and a bit more engaged with you.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Emma, I can hear Harper calling you in the background.
Sorry.
She clearly doesn't understand how important comical
I was
is.
like-
Come on, kiddo.
Come on. I was literally just about to message Tom and say, can you take her into the other room?
No, don't do
I'm
that.
thinking, I'm like, this is a good microphone. Is this getting picked up?
Don't do that. You know what? I used to take calls in the bathroom when I was working and my kids were screaming, losing it, and I'd be freaking out. Oh my God, I hope people don't hear it. But you know what? This is the reality of being a working parent. And you go on and you do it really, really well. And then you laugh about it. And that's
Yeah,
it. And it's
I
no
know,
big deal.
sorry.
But
I thought, I'm like, well, this will be okay because this is during her sleep. And if she wakes up, Tom's home working at home today.
Yeah,
so, but she's so clingy to me. She's going, Mommy.
Oh, I love it.
Mommy.
Oh, it's the best feeling though. It doesn't last forever. Enjoy it. And you know what?
I know.
I'm taking up her time. So thank you, Harper, for giving us your legendary mum.
No, that's
Thanks so
all right.
much, Em.
I gibber a lot. I hope that answered
No,
your
it
questions
did.
well enough.
And I think if nothing else, I think it's really important that people know and understand that even elite journalists like yourself on live TV still feel nervous, still feel self-doubt sometimes, have to prepare, etc. And that, that's really important no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, you always make mistakes. You got to learn not to be a perfectionist. I've tried to learn. I have the motto about progress, not perfection.
Yes.
Like you can still
So
want to
true.
get better.
Yep.
But perfection, it's not a thing. And preparation is everything. So
Thank you so much, my friend.
thank you for having me. It was good to catch up.
So good to catch
about
up.
Screaming at the end.
And I hope to see you soon.
Yes. We'll have a coffee soon.